Could one of the best players in Eagle history be on the way out? Also, should the Philadelphia Eagles look to address their backup quarterback need in the draft or via free agency? We'll break all of it down here on the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome into A to Z Philly, your number one home for Eagles coverage. Hit the like button if you enjoy these videos. Subscribe by hitting that red button down below and hit the bell so you don't miss any of the coverage. RB back, bringing you the latest from the link. Today, there are some rumors, some news going on. Obviously, the combine is taking place, so there's a lot of players trying to make their name known. And right now, the Eagles' biggest concern is who is going to stay, who is going to go. That will kind of lead into, well, where do the Eagles need to draft? You know, what do they need to look at? What will be the biggest area of need with those 2 first-round picks? We will be breaking it all down over the next couple weeks into the next month or two. I want to quickly start off with a piece of news that came out earlier this morning. Eagles receiver, who's now a free agent, Zach Pascal, was robbed at gunpoint by 2 men in Maryland yesterday. So we just wanted to extend our hopes and prayers. Hopefully everything is okay. The city had minor injuries, but seems to be okay, which is a good thing. You never want to hear something like that. But before we get into it, man, should the Eagles keep Brandon Graham around? I want your answer to that down below. Obviously, it's like pulling on the heartstrings, right? One of the best Eagles ever. And I know statistically wise, it doesn't look like that. But when you make maybe the biggest play in Eagle history, when you've been such a great presence, when you've been, just such a long tenured player and you've really built something special here, you deserve to be in that category, in my opinion. So let me know your thoughts down below. Before we get right into it, shout out to the sponsor here of today's show, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code ATOZPA. Receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Pennsylvania only. New customer offer. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's talk about it. So BG is one of my favorite Philadelphia Eagles ever. There's no doubt about that. He should be atop your list. And this report comes out from Tim McManus, who says that Brandon Graham is generating interest from other teams, including the Cleveland Browns. His preference is, quote, to finish his career in Philly, but sense here is that he is open to signing elsewhere, depending on where the Eagles come in with their offer. Same thing happened about 2 or 3 years ago. I remember BG walking out after the last game of the season. He was hugging the media. I mean, he's beloved here, right? What a guy. What a guy, where he was drafted in the first round and then, always being talked about, underrated, undersized, all this stuff. And look at what he's done. He's now 34. He's been here his whole career. And, BJ has just made a name for himself, not only, again, as a player, because he's not the most athletic guy. He's not the guy who's going to wow you every single game. But, damn, he's just consistent, man. And he is such a great veteran locker room presence. He is just such a great teammate. Every time you hear this guy talk, obviously he's got the personality. He's talking smack. He's, having a lot of fun. But, man, he knows how to bring the troops together. And he's been such an integral part of this defensive line all the way back to the Andy Reid days who drafted him. So when it comes down to BG, I think absolutely yes, you have to do what it takes to keep him. And I know, he might demand, a higher figure. He might demand some money that maybe the Eagles want to allocate to other players because, they have a long list of guys they need to take care of, and some of them are going to have to get shredded. You look at Brandon Graham, he just had a career year, 11 sacks. Obviously at one point, he's going to hit that, that time, I guess, where he's going to start to decline. He's not going to be the same. And really, last year when he tears his ACL, you're thinking, dang, man, this might be the end of the road. He comes out and has 11 sacks. He was part of a historic defense. In my opinion, you have to do everything you can to keep him around. And really, I think about other athletes and things happen, right? Look at JP, look at some guys like that who leave at the end of their career. I just can't see Brandon Graham suiting up with another jersey. It just wouldn't look right. It would be nasty. It would be disgusting. And as a part of Tim McManus's report, he also says that Fletcher Cox could be another veteran whose name could be in that mix to maybe leave, right? He mentions Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox could potentially be interested in going to the Cleveland Browns to reunite with former defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, who obviously they all won a Super Bowl together. So, maybe that could be a place where they try to recruit him over there, right, to pair with Myles Garrett. And they mentioned how, he had 16 sacks last year, and the second highest on the Browns was 3. So they definitely need a couple more pieces to throw in there. Now, I want to talk about the backup quarterback, position, situation, whatever it may be. It's very crazy to think about this. It's like full circle from years ago. And, the Eagles ended up drafting Jalen Hurts high in the draft, obviously. And, Carson Wentz didn't take kindly to it. And we know how the whole story played out. It's not going to be a history lesson. But at the end of the day, here the Eagles are. They just went to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is about to get a huge payday. And you actually might be in the same position again, where you might have to draft a quarterback. And you look at the Eagles draft picks, right? I mean, they don't have any on day 3 other than the 7th round. They have 2 in the 7th round. They got 2 in the 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd. Could the Eagles actually be in position to draft a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round? I can't put it out of consideration because this is what Howie Roseman does. He called it the QB factory for a reason. I do think those comments were idiotic, but at the end of the day, I mean, he wants to keep circulating these quarterbacks. You hope that Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy for a long, long time. He's proven he can as long as he stays healthy. But, the Eagles are going to need some help because if Hurts goes down, the style of ball he likes to play. And you know what style of ball the Eagles offense is going to, like to design and play. You're going to have a security blanket, right? So will the Eagles go in the draft and draft a quarterback? What do you think? Or will they go via free agency, maybe get a veteran, a guy who can also help continue to mentor Jalen Hurts and help him out? One guy that comes to mind for myself that has been talked about recently is Marcus Mariota. Now, again, another crazy story. Imagine Mariota finally making his way to Philadelphia after everything that happened with the Chip Kelly, the draft night, almost trading Fletcher Cox and the entire house to get Marcus Mariota. Obviously, his quarterback career has not panned out the way you expected it to. But he was just released a couple days ago from the Atlanta Falcons. That saved them $12 million against their salary cap. You look at Mariota's stats, right? Marcus Mariota, a career 62.6 completion percentage quarterback, 92 touchdowns, 54 picks. This past year, he had 15-9, 61.3% completion percentage, and 2,200 yards before he was ultimately benched by the Falcons rookie, I believe it was Desmond Ridder. And, you look at Marcus Mariota, he's a serviceable quarterback. He's probably going to be one of the most serviceable backups on the market. Now, maybe he ends up getting paid yet again and going somewhere to start. But as I think about it, right, who wants Marcus Mariota? If you're a bottom of the barrel team, do you want Mariota to come in? Because he can win games. As you see, he went 5-8. He can still pull out some wins. He's good enough to win games. To me, he's not good enough to be a legit starter on a team trying to make a playoff push, right? And that's where I think, coming to a place like Philly where, they're probably expected to be really good again. You never know what's going to happen with Jalen Hurts, but maybe he comes in here and he can be utilized in, some tricky plays or whatever. I mean, Mariota still has the legs to him a little bit, and, he can just be a nice mentor for Jalen Hurts. And, Mariota is just trying to survive. He's trying to stay in the league. Sure, if he gets a job offer from the Jets or a team like that or the Raiders, maybe he takes it. But at the end of the day, I just don't see him being more than a backup. So why not come to a really good organization who might be able to somehow, boost up your value a little bit for the future? And like I said, if Hurts was to ever go down, Mariota would be a much more serviceable backup, a guy you could believe in a little bit to win a game rather than what the Eagles fans saw from Gardner Minshew, rather than Ian Book, who is currently the only other quarterback on the roster. So that is definitely a possibility. But it has been reported that the Philadelphia Eagles are talking with Dorian Thompson-Robinson in the draft. And, I've read some different draft profiles on him. Apparently, he's expected to be maybe a mid or late round pick or could go undrafted. Another player the Eagles could look at is Stetson Bennett, who has won back-to-back national championships. But in my personal opinion, I would stay away from Bennett. He's 5'11". Obviously had the whole, incident lately. But besides the fact, you look at the quarterbacks that are below 6 feet, you look at how they've played, how they're doing right now, and just the trend of the industry, right? Like, I just don't see those being legit quarterbacks. That's just me. I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying there's, dime a dozen, like there's one of them that could come out and do their thing. But, look at them, right? Johnny Manziel, Kyler Murray, look at how that's going right now. I just don't see it being feasible, in my opinion. And when you look at Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he is similar to a Jalen Hurts prototype. He is similar. And this article here from Eagles Today mentions how they brought in Carson Strong. Obviously, that didn't work as an undrafted free agent. Hey, if the Eagles can get this guy undrafted, absolutely you do it. I do think they're going to try to get a quarterback in the draft. Thompson-Robinson has a wealth of experience at the college level with 49 games played, 88 touchdowns to 36 picks with a completion percentage of 63.3. And he had 600 plus rushing yards over the past 2 years, including 645 last year with 12 rushing touchdowns. And he had 28 career rushing touchdowns at UCLA. Personally, I think this would be a guy you definitely look at, a guy who you could kind of plug and play if you needed to, maybe again in those like decoy situations, who has a similar skill set to Jalen Hurts, because the Eagles are trying to build the offense around Jalen Hurts. And his skill set is very unique, right? So having a guy that could, kind of share some of those similar traits might be a good idea for the Eagles, especially to build with. And hopefully the guy doesn't take feelings like Carson Wentz did. I don't think Hurts would obviously do that. But yeah, you're not drafting Jalen Hurts' replacement. You're drafting some necessary help to help build this Eagles team out and make sure they have enough security going into next year. Give me all your thoughts down below in the comments section. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and like always, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.